In 2013, the Soweto Men's Open and Soweto Women's Open will be played at the Arthur Ashe Tennis Complex in April. Negotiations between SRSA and TSA with other strategic partners are at an advanced stage in order to see to it that sponsorship and joint venture come into fruition, especially for prize money. In the meantime, Sports and Recreation South Africa is committing an amount of 5 million rands towards the successful hosting of the event, which will cost at around 7.25 million. We're informed that already there's been great interest from international players who have confirmed their interest in participating in the tournament, which has had champions to the likes of Frenchman Fabrice Santoro, flamboyant Jamaican Dustin Brown, and South African Davis Cup star Isaac van der Merwe. What will be any event without a van der Merwe? We need to support tennis, and I'm happy with the vision that TSA is beginning to spell out for tennis development. I need young kids and the youth of South Africa, black and white, to be exposed. When I grew up, the only sport except football that I followed was tennis, and tennis was played right on the doorstep in my local area. And when I grew up in the school, there was tennis being played. I've never understood why we don't have black stars of tennis, and I think we can achieve that. So this 5 million could be just for this year, but this is what we basically want to achieve. So it will not be for the first and the last time you hear from us. So as long as this brand of tennis, and in particular Soweto Open, is being played, year after year, government will definitely come to the party. But it is a brand that must live. It must not only depend on government, it must live its own life, in a sense that private sector, from our own organization and what we actually do, attracting the right people and the good spectators. I believe that if we work on the brand, it will get enough sponsorship to a point where government doesn't have to come to the party. I was in the Eastern Cape opening facilities in the rural area there, and I saw, if you know Dan Pasia, who owned Mtata Bush Parks, and then I was there opening facility in the deep rural areas of the Eastern Cape. And then I've seen young kids playing tennis, passionate and all of that. Not all of us want to play football. So we must support young people to play what they are capable of, and that's how we're going to bring medals in South Africa. But if all of us, we want to invest in football, rugby and cricket and forget handball, we can get medals from handball, rowing, you don't even know about it. All of those things, you know, I think tennis, we can achieve a lot in relation to this for South Africa. And our integrated plan in terms of making sport vibrant, integrated and all of that, I think we can achieve a lot in the next coming 10 years, 20 years.
More or less the end of April, I've just got to find a slot with the ATP and ITF, the ITF doing the ladies' side because it's under $220,000 prize money. We're looking at that. On the ranking side, it will depend on what prize money we end up getting from the ATP and ITF, but I would imagine it'll probably bring players that are in the top 100 for sure. We're not allowed to have anybody in the top 15, 20 because of the ATP, the way they stopped that. Otherwise, the youngsters coming through the system would never be able to get international points. So that's pretty much where we are. I will be talking to the Minister's office with some PWare on how we structure that, but the ATP and ITF will certainly help us get the best ranking points that we can. We're going to have a pre-qualifying tournament for the predominantly Soweto players, for the PDI communities only. From there, wildcards, the winners of that will get into the qualifying rounds, and from the qualifying rounds we get 4 qualifying places that will go into the main draw, and we'll also have 4 wildcards which will go to South African players, and again we'll discuss that with SRSA as to which players we put in. We are hoping that the Isak van der Merwe's and Ruan Rulofs and Rick de Vos come back, but we're hoping that also the other youngsters that are coming through the system will play, and I'm sure that once they've heard this announcement today, they'll be packing their bags to come back to South Africa. They love playing in front of their home crowd. They really do.
We want to bring more kids from the previous disadvantaged areas. That's my view. And maybe in 2 years to come, if we can have more black kids participating in that tournament and ultimately having a winner or winners, then I'll be happy, because we'll be doing what we say, getting rid of the perception that tennis is played by rich people and white people. So it can be. So we want to produce more black kids from the previous disadvantaged area.